Okay, welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair. Today we are doing a segment called Mods and Upgrades. So what we're going to be doing is upgrading my Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb Reissue. So a common complaint in that amp is the speaker. It's really trebly sounding, it doesn't have a lot of mid-range, and it's not quite as loud. And what a lot of people replace that Jensen speaker that it comes stock with is a Celestion Creamback. So I've done quite a bit of research, and I think this is the speaker that I want to use. So here it is. It just came in the mail today, and it's a, let's see if I can get it in frame here. It's a G-12M Celestion Creamback. It's 65 watts, 8 ohms, and it's a 12-inch speaker. So just another showing you what it looks like here. So I've never done a speaker replacement before, but from what I can tell on the internet, it's pretty easy. So we're going to be going through the process today. And I'm also going to record an A to B comparison of the speakers so we can hear the difference. So, okay, let's get started. I just wanted to show my recording setup. So I'm going to be using an SM57. I'm going to mark the spot on the cabinet, or on the cab, where the mic is going to be placed so it's accurate for both speakers. And then I'm going to set the amp exactly the same. We're going to do a clean demo, and then we're going to do a little bit of dirt demo, and then we're going to do an A to B comparison of both speakers. I'm going to be using an interface for the audio, and all the settings in the interface will be the same as well. So I'm going to be recording the first part using the original speaker now. Then we're going to show replacing the speaker. Then I'm going to record the second part with the new speaker, and then at the end of the video we're going to do an A to B comparison of both. Okay, so I've actually never done this before, so but I'm just going to dive right in and learn on the way. It doesn't look too complicated. From what I can tell, the speaker's just mounted by those little nuts and bolts there. So I'm sure that if I just remove all those, it'll lift right out. Looks like I'm going to have to take off the back panel just to get easier access for lifting that out. It does kind of appear that this transformer is going to be in the way. So I'm wondering if I have to remove the entire top as well. But we'll try without doing that, and then if we have to, we'll go ahead and figure that out. So other than just the bolts and nuts there, it looks like the speaker connects with those little clips there, and that clip wire goes right onto this 1/4-inch cable that plugs into the internal speaker. So that's pretty straightforward. Just hook that up to the new speaker. And then I've read online that I should be breaking in the new speaker. So once that's mounted and installed, I have a plan for that. So right now I'm just going to take off all the bolts and the back panel and see if it'll lift out easily, or if I need to remove more things. Alright, so it ended up being a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I removed the two back panels here. So it was 4 screws there and 4 screws there. But on the inside here, once I removed those panels, there's 4 screws on each corner that was holding the speaker and the waffle back to the cabinet. So after those 4 speakers were removed, the whole front just came off. And here it is. So it's actually very easy to replace the speakers on these amps. Now I just need to remove all these bolts, replace the speaker, and put everything back together. So I'm going to do it step by step. First I'm going to get all these bolts off, and then we'll replace the speaker. Okay, so I've removed all of the little bolts, and I'm assuming the speaker will just pull right out. Yep. that is the case. Ooh, don't want to lose that. So here's a look at the old speaker. It's in good shape. It's a little dusty, but this is a Jensen 8 ohm 12-inch speaker that comes stock on the Deluxe Reverb Reissues. So now I'm going to put in the Celestion cream back. I'm going to make sure that my ports are at the top there. So it looks like there's a little bit of room. Hold on here. So there we go. It looks like it doesn't quite mount perfectly vertical. It's kind of over to the side a little bit, just the way that it mounts to there. Because if I try to put it exactly this way, there's no screw patterns there, so it mounts just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. And this is my little cord that was off of the Jensen, so I remembered that the black cord was on the left, so I'll just plug it in there. And the red and black cord was on the right. So after I get this all tightened up, it's just 4 screws to put it back in the cabinet, plug it in, and it's good to go. So I'll show that part right when I'm done tightening these up. Okay, so here it is all put back into place here, and the 4 screws I was talking about are just those little black screws in frame, and they're at each corner, and all I need to do is tighten them and this thing's good to go. I've got the speaker plugged back into the internal speaker port, so yeah, just got to go ahead and tighten everything up, and it'll be back together. I'm going to put the back spec on as well. Okay, so I've got the speaker in, everything's set up, it's good to go. I tested it, it's working. So now what I'm going to do is called breaking in the speaker. So this is important to do when you get a new speaker, just so you can get it sounding as good as it would as a broken in speaker. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little bit of a looper on my pedal board. So I'm going to start a loop to record a phrase here, and then I'm just going to leave it go for about 2 hours on the amp by itself. So I'm going to do some clean, some open chords, and then I'm going to do a little bit of distortion, and I'm just going to let that loop for a couple hours and break in the speaker. So let's try that. So I'm going to go ahead and so here we go. Alright, so now that I've recorded that phrase, I don't really care what it sounds like. All it is meant to do is get that speaker broken in, so I'm going to leave that sit for about 2 hours. And when I come back, that speaker should be broken in. Okay, so I left the looper on and I went to run some errands and I actually got held up, so the amp was actually running constantly for about 4 hours at a pretty decent high volume. So I'm going to say that that speaker is broken in now. So now I'm going to do a test with both speakers. You'll be able to see the exact amp settings that both speakers were set for the test. They both had the same microphones. The interface was run at the exact same levels. So the only thing changing about the two sounds is just the speaker. Everything else is run exactly the same. During the dirty portion, I'm going to be using the Toros servo pedal, which is just going to give it a little bit more distortion and overdrive and breakup. And then you'll be able to see when that's on too, because I'll put a little picture on the screen as well. And then for the test, I'm going to be using the Les Paul that I use in a lot of my videos. This one is, I'm going to be using the bridge pickup for everything, which is a Seymour Duncan Antiquity, which is a very similar to like a PAF style pickup. And yeah, so everything's going to be, try to keep the variables as constant as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and start that test right now. I would say that using headphones would be the best bet to give the best representation of the true audio. Okay. Alright, so now that we've went through our total installation and we've broken in the speaker and we've done our test, what are my final thoughts on the Celestion G-12M65 Creamback? Well, I was very surprised with the difference of the sound. The Creamback definitely seemed to break up at a lower volume, so both those amps were being pushed at the exact same levels, and the Celestion seemed to have a little bit more breakup using those exact same signals, which is nice. I think that the Jensen breaks up at a little bit of a high volume. You really have to push the amp to get that nice tube breakup, and the Creamback seems to do that at a little bit of a lower volume, which is nice. Also, you can really, I was trying it out afterwards, you can really crank the Celestion, and it doesn't sound as, muddy as the Jensen. When you really push the Jensen at the really high volumes, like 9s, 10s, stuff like that, it sounds a little muddy and you kind of lose a little bit of the distinction between notes, but the Creamback seems to do that a lot better. It's also got a lot nicer mid-range, a little bit more mid-low range kind of thing. Everything sounds a little bit beefier, meatier, where the Jensen can sound a little bit thin at times. But yeah, they're both great speakers, but I would definitely say the Celestion Creamback is an upgrade. For the 65 Deluxe Reverb, I would recommend it, or try some other Celestion speakers. I know there's a lot of people that put different speakers in these amps, but it's a common upgrade because some people do find the Jensen just a little bit lacking. But anyway, that'll be our video for today. Thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and we're going to have more for you really soon. Thanks. Have a great day.